Um, All right, I think we're live.
We are live.
We are live.
Which is not
and alive.
alive. Yeah.
Both. All right.
Good morning,
So,
everyone.
good morning.
We are
In the third
third
day
and
of
last
the
day of our
conference. Yes. Perfect.
and today we have
Mhm. Oh, okay. We have Sarah from the south of Spain now live with us. So she will talk us about bats, a really cool project she has in the south of Spain. And yes. Mhm. Yes. Okay. So Sarah, join us, please.
Hi,
Hello.
good morning.
Can you see your audience?
A minute. I have to say thank you to introduce me, but I haven't. I can't listen to Nando, so I don't know what he have said.
Hello.
Hello.
Sara, ¿y a mí me oyes o qué?
Sí, yes. No me
Yeah, okay. Now,
But-
Nando said that you are a woodworker and awesome person.
Only beautiful things. Okay.
we are lucky to have you. Even if you have
I can listen to you.
okay. Why
You have some sort of IE filter.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Should I
So
start?
all yours, Sarah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yes. Okay,
Now
so
I can
go ahead.
see it. Thank you. Well, thank you to Alberto, Nando, and of course to Alca because you have organized and invited me to this Congress. The objective of this presentation is not only giving you information about the work we do here at the South Spain with the bats. I want to speak about how we can get that animals that are stigmatized to be defended and wanting to be protected by the people who live with them. In order to make you understand better, can you see the new diapositive? Is okay?
Yes.
Well, I hope so. It's okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit of our bat conservation project here in Coria del Rio in Spain. Last year, we suffered an outbreak of the West Nile virus, which resulted in about 80 people in the region that suffered it. 8 people died because of the disease. This virus is transmitted by the Culex mosquitoes. This mosquito is a vector between birds and humans. And Coria del Rio, where is our work area, is in Andalusia, the south of Spain. The effects of climatic change are already being felt, and temperature is increasing each year more and more. So the mosquitoes population is expected to grow during next years. In addition, in the surroundings of Coria, as you can see here, there are large areas of rice cultivation because it is between two big rivers. They also use intensive agriculture methods, and the use of non-specific a broad spectrum insecticide had have eliminated the animals that were the natural controllers of the insect, including bats. This ecosystem where we work is very, very, very similar to this ecosystem where other group make this job. It's very similar to Delta del Ebro, where conservation work with bats has already been carried out in rice fields affected by invertebrate pests that could not be controlled by insecticide. They get excellent results using bats. So today they only use bats and no insecticide to produce their rice. They produce ecological rice. And we decided to use the same methodology in Coria del Rio. We decided to install that kind of bat boxes inside the city, and this is important because this make Coria del Rio the first village, at least in Spain, to fully use an ecological control technique by bats over all the city, all the area. In our bats boxes, where they can be used by between 9 and 12 bats. The bats are Pipistrellus, and Pipistrellus pygmaeus. We know it because we have made some census. Each bat eats each night over 3,000 mosquitoes. So in one box we can find, for example, 10 bats. This means that this allow us to eliminate up to 30,000 mosquitoes in only one night. However, the fact of working directly in an urban area means that people will have to live with these bats, and it can be a problem, a big problem. Because of that, we prepared a specific plan for Coria del Rio people, because we wanted the people defend the bats. Not only we arrive and put our boxes and do our job and our work, and that's all. We had to make everyone aware of the problem. So we starting by installing the boxes in 3 days instead of 2. This means that we could have done our work in only 2 days, but we spent time in each installation. When we arrived with our boxes, we spent a lot of time because we wanted to explain, to speak with people and let them understand. I have to say that when you arrive with the boxes and you say that they were for the bats, many people say, oh no, I don't want bats, they are evil, they have coronavirus, nobody wanted bats. But when you speak with them and they understand that they can eliminate mosquitoes, no complaints, everybody's happy with bats, and they say, okay, 2 more boxes, please. I want more bats here. So this is very important to speak with them and explain what you are doing. In addition, we wanted to reach as many people as possible, so we made a special hard work with the medias. We appear on television, on the radio, writing press. I don't know if this exists in English, this word. Well, okay. We appear in a local level and also in national level. Through the TV, we reach older people. For example, this man is very famous here at the south of Spain. So if a bat appear with him, everybody will love bats, and that will happen. We also use the social media. This is a photograph of Instagram campaign. because we wanted to reach also the young people. And for kids, we prepare environmental education activities in schools. In fact, in 2 weeks, we have a special activity with bats in Korea. Nowadays, people in Korea wanted to protect their bats, and a proof of this is that when last summer they wanted to, somebody wanted to make a new building or something like that, and it was a problem because they have to eliminate some trees that had our bat boxes. We didn't know anything, but the people of Korea went to the streets and they defended the bat boxes. So we are very happy because of that, because they defend them without us, and this is the right way. I also have to say that the collaboration with the City Council has been very important to be able to establish an action plan. Every time a neighbor had a problem with a bat, we have gone to their homes, explaining them that they are protected animals, that they can't touch them or hurt them. But we, and this is also important, we try to offer solutions that allow coexistence, not only do a statistic work or a scientific work. We also work with the people that live next to the bats. At the scientific level, we have almost 8. This is wrong. We have now 76 boxes in Corea del Rio, but we have even more in some cities that are next to Corea del Rio. We want to reach 200 by 2024. There are 21 boxes that had occasional occupation within a full year of installation. So this is a very good number, because bats used to spend 4 years to arrive and to stay in a box. So we hope the next summer we can find some more boxes with bats. But the most important thing for me is that all the work we have done have to make sense. And in Korea now, bats are welcome, and they have become even heroes. So they have gone from being species that are not appreciated at all to being a symbol of which their habitants are considered proud. Without education or without divulgation of the project, it could have been impossible, and it's impossible to continue to live and have a real impact without the people that live in Korea. It's not only about doing science, but about conservation of species and animals, creating an environment that allows coexistence, and without society that want to protect them will be not possible. So I would like to end by asking you to look up from the papers, each one in their own way, try to find out how we can transmit the importance of the work we do. It makes no sense to keep this work only for the scientific community. If we can involve society, we can make a real difference and real impact in the ecosystem, and then conserve any species we want. People will defend them, and we not be alone like crazy people that want to save animals. So I think that's all. Thank you so much. And now you can ask me anything you want. And I hope you can listen in everything. You have seen the presentation and everything is okay.
Yes, thank you. Could you stop screen sharing, please?
No escucho. I can't listen to you.
Could you? No.
Can you stop?
It's possible it can be my computer, huh?
But you don't listen.
Okay, yeah, now.
No, because we should. Yeah, okay.
I was this.
Okay, so
Perfect.
now we said it was everything okay, Sarah. Congratulations for your talk. It was such an interesting project. Thank you. And we have now your audience here waiting.
Ready for questions.
For the questions.
I can see a hand.
Hello, Sarah. I have a question.
Okay.
I mean, on the long term, I mean, what will happen when the bats will eat all the mosquitoes?
I have listened only words alone. So can you, Alberto, Nando, because I can listen.
We'll translate it. First of all, please stop screen sharing, Sarah.
Okay.
So we can see the audience. Perfect.
And Lucas was asking if what will happen when the bats eat all the mosquitoes.
It's okay. There's no problem because the ecosystem is a very problem here because we always have mosquitoes. Mosquitoes aren't going to disappear, and the thing is that the bats, the population bats, are going down. So we need to make our bats population growth, and for now it's okay. Here in this south of Spain, you you can walk inside mosquitoes clouds. So I think it will be okay. There will be no problem.
But you don't tell that to the owner, to the people receiving the boxes, no?
I tell them the truth. I mean, they are no kids. They have to know what is happening, and I also speak with them about the insecticide and what kind they can use, because I say, okay, you can use insecticide. I'm okay with that. I agree, but use some of them that are specific. We also work with the council, trying to make a good management with the agriculture, that they can have more tools to do it.
And do you see this extending to other communities, other regions? Like
we started in Korea, but now we work in 3 cities, and I hope the next year, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we will do. We are going to work in 2 big cities here in South Spain. One, I'm sure that is going to work because we have now some projects starting in Malaga, but then I hope it can grow because it's a very good natural solution.
Excellent.
More
questions?
Yeah, we have.
Hello. I would like to ask if you have the location you want to have the bats and they are not there in present. Do you have somehow attract them to stay there? Like, I mean, that you put there these houses for bats, and if they are not in that area, if you attract them somehow to stay in that area.
Yeah, we should repeat it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, basically, do you have a way to attract the bats to a new area other than putting the nest boxes?
It's possible to use ultrasounds.
Ultrasound.
But we have not used ultrasounds because we made a study to try to put our boxes in the best place, to try to say to the bats that it was the perfect place for them, because when you put some boxes, you have to know that they have to be, for example, they can't be very warm, they have to have water near. So we prepare a map with all the factors that make the boxes like a beautiful house for the bats. But in other places, for example, a project we work in Valencia, they work with wine and they use the vats for the cultivation, to cultivate the grapes. They use the ultrasound to it's like with birds, use it as a reclamo. That I don't know how to say reclamo in English.
A bait.
A bait.
A bait, okay.
Okay.
More question?
Yes. Let's try.
Can people who have the box see the effect, at least like at the place that, for example, there are less mosquitoes?
No, but they can. No, okay, but I have a better answer. And this is because I have to go in some minutes. It's because of that. Because we want to install some structures, alguna estructura, under the boxes, because we are going to collect the guano. We are going to make some genetics studies to prove what kind of insects they are eating. Some of the people that live here, they have a box in their homes, in their houses, because it was a solution to coexistence, because they didn't want to have a bat inside their houses, so we put a box outside and the bats go outside and they live together and they are happy, people and bats. So we are going to put some structures under the boxes to keep with us the guano. And then we are going to show people what kind of insects they are eating. But what they can see is not that they are eating the mosquitoes in their house, but they can see that we can find less mosquitoes. And also we have, when we speak to the people, we say, okay, this is not going to work this year. Maybe we need 4 years, and they know about that. And even they agree with us that they need the bats or birds or animals, and they prefer this to the insecticide. I don't know why, but they prefer it.
And too. Okay. How are you doing in time, Sarah?
How I'm doing?
How are you doing in time, with time? You have to leave.
No, for this I have no answers.
One last question or not?
It's okay.
Anyone?
Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Maybe I would like to ask if there are any more bat species that you would like to attract to the location, or if there were historically only these 2 species that you talked about.
Okay, she has asked if I want to attract more animals, more
Different bat species.
Different species.
Well, the thing is that we want to attract species that are living now here. I mean, I don't want to attract bats that don't used to live here, because we want to go back to a good ecosystem relations. So we only want to make our bats population growth. It's true that we are near to Doñana National Park, and here we can find a lot of species of bats, but it's because of their ecology that they live, for example, more in forests, not in cities. So it could be more difficult for this kind of bats to get used to the people. Pipistrellus, for example, they live with people. It's very, very easy for them to get used to the sounds, the noise, all the people, kids speaking too loud, these kind of things.
Especially in Andalusia.
Nothing about Andalusia. Andalusia is the better place in the world, so.
I think so.
I hope so.
Very well. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Sarah, for your talk.
Okay. Thank you so much to you.
Right. So yes, you can leave, you can run.
I
Good
will
luck
try.
with your rest of the day.
Sleep better tonight.
Yes.
No, it's not going to happen.
And please,
But
Sarah.
thank you so much.
Sarah,
We don't want to lose you.
please, Sarah, stay alive.
I try, but I can't promise anything. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.
Right. So we think we have the words talk now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It was yours. Sorry.
But yeah, you are absolutely right. And actually, I might need a few minutes to set up because silver lining of the worst talk. I prepared this talk yesterday while these people were walking in the in the field and a bit this morning. And then I changed plans. It seems I was going to talk for many hours because our last presenter will not be able to join us today because some personal problems and he won't be able to be here. He's very sorry, but it's something unavoidable. So I was planning to give a very long talk, but fortunately for you, part of my talk is about something I have not worked directly with, but the person in charge and the person working with this will be joining us and give it that talk. Right. So now all of a sudden my talk has changed completely. So you can expect something strange from mine, but then later we will recover it and it will be much better with our next presenter after my attempt, which is Dr. Asta Auxillonite. She will teach me again to pronounce her surname. But yeah, I need just a few minutes to change a few things and to prepare with her, and then we are back online.
Okay. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so we come back in a few minutes, please.
Yeah, we can silence this something. Maybe we can make hacemos una
All right. So there we go. Hi again. And now let's listen to Nando's talk. So we have next lesson will be the special one. So we have final surprise.
This is like jazz presentation, no? It's all improvised.
So I'm so honored to introduce Nando, Fernando Mateos, who is a biologist. Fernando has so many jobs, so it's difficult for me to make a good presentation of him. So he's representing Alca Wildlife and Gantos. I think I need help with this word.
Nature Research Center from Lithuania.
From Lithuania, okay. Okay, and he's going to ambassadors of freshwater. Okay, so it's gonna be interesting lecture, I think. So Nando, you can share your screen. Okay, works.
Yes, I'm listening a little bit of echo. Is there? Can you check if there is echo
on YouTube?
On YouTube?
No, it shouldn't be.
I was listening to something. Okay,
but I can check it. Okay, so
let's start sharing.
Start sharing. Yes.
Not this, but this.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Now.
Are you ready?
No, it's a bit, but why do I hear myself? I'm scared. Is anyone listening to echo in my computer is silent, but I'm hearing something.
Let me check it out.
Any echo? People in YouTube, dear listeners?
Are you ready?
But there is echo. I'm scared. Is anyone?
It's perfect. Nando.
Excellent. Okay.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much.
So all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much to myself also to get invited to this talk. So yes, as Alberto said, I have several hats sometimes, and even though I'm part of the organization of this conference as Alca Wildlife, I also have another job in Lithuania at the Nature Research Center, and is in representation of this institution that I will give this talk today. And I'm gonna talk about several things I've done in this project, but I was planning to talk about many things, but we are lucky I don't have to talk about all the things I have not done. And after this talk, we will have my my boss from Lithuania. She will come and give us a much better talk than mine, explaining her direct experience with this project. What I'm going to talk about with this tricky title, people were asking me to add an interrogation sign at the end. But I really think there is potential to engage anglers as ambassadors of freshwater biodiversity. But before talking about this directly, we are going to talk about my childhood a little bit. Back in last century, like 1985 or so, I was a little kid. My grandma used to buy this Tele Indiscreta. It was one of these glossy journals that with famous people appearing. And she gave me an album with stickers that I love. It was this album with animal stickers that you could collect. And there was something there. I mean, I loved the album, but there was something there that I didn't understand very well. It said, conocerlos es amarlos. It said, literally, to know them is to love them. And I was thinking, what does that mean? I don't understand. Does it mean that in order for me to be a good biologist, I have to memorize all the names to love them? I didn't understand it at the time. But then later in life, I managed to understand this sentence, and we will see at the end of the talk what the real meaning of this sentence is. And I'm gonna start with an even older story. This is the end of the 19th century. People back then, they were seeing birds as just as some material, something to buy or to use, or it was really popular to buy feathers for the hats of the ladies. And it was so big, this business was like 2.8 billion sterling pounds a year. It was an immense amount of money. So they were shooting zillions of birds all the time just for the feathers. And there are accounts of fashion walks in the streets and all this fashion stuff, saying that they had a dress made with the patch throat of 3,000 hummingbirds. Like, imagine using that for decoration. It goes to this level. By the end of the 19th century, this ornithologist, Frank Chapman, he did a couple of walks up and down Manhattan in New York, and he was doing a census of birds, just looking at the hats of the ladies in the street. And then he counted all these species in the hats. Back then there was a lot of pressure already saying, okay, we cannot continue like this. This is too much. Like, we are destroying all the birds population. And also at that time, I think you know this space, even Charles Darwin was known by his amazing love for hunting birds. He was crazy about it, and this is part of his, this text here is part of his autobiography, and then he was commenting on, he was trembling when he was shooting his first bird, and so excited, and he kept all his life doing that, enjoying a lot. This was birding at the time. That's what birding meant. Birding was hunting birds. What's birding today? What comes to your mind when you hear our friend Vasek, for example? I'm gonna go birding. The meaning has changed quite a lot, and this is another very recent story from Spain. A couple of weeks ago, in Asturias, in the north of Spain, there was a very surprising arrival. It was several snowy owls, which are, this species is never the Harry Potter owl. This species has never been seen, or have never been seen like that in Spain. And people went berserk, they went crazy, like lots of people everywhere. Like, you can see the first piece of news there of 2,500 results. It says there are people that started crying to see this animal for the first time in their lives. Like, birding has changed a lot since Darwin time. And this has a main reason, in my opinion. I think birding is now different because technology and outreach have collaborated to change this name. And this is another example of how this changed. But in the US, the very first bird guide was the one on the right. Is it like that? Yes, on the right of the screen. It was titled "Birds Through an Opera Glass." Up until then, people couldn't see the birds unless they shot them. Like, it was impossible to see at a distance and be able to identify any details. So it was only until in another industry, the opera business, they created these binoculars, and then later they improved the prisms inside, and then created proper binoculars, that people were able to identify the birds outside, and then no longer needed to shoot so many of them. Still, there were many collections for zoos that needed shooting, and there were huge controversies about that, and there was more and more pressure. But in the end, as we have seen with the snowy owl, technology and outreach, sharing this knowledge with people, they managed to change the meaning of birding to what we see today. Like birding is a leisure activity, and you learn about them, and it's much more sustainable and conservation friendly. But what happened with fishing? What image come to your mind when you think about fishing? It's not the same as birding. Fishing is still throwing your well, everything, overfishing. I mean, we all get the image of taking fish out of their environment and not even to look at them, like it's mainly to eat or just for fun. But things are changing, I think. Anglers are are the ones fishing, but they also happen to be the ones that are more in contact with fresh water environments. We have them there all the time. They are most connected with this environment. And at the same time, the technology that is coming up is, it's aimed at this business. It's aimed at fishing better. So there is a potential to use this technology, the data we collect through this technology, to somehow produce knowledge, this outreach, that help us go perform better conservation. And I'm gonna tell you about a couple of examples that we have been working on there in the Nature Research Center in this regard. And one of the first examples of this technology is this sonar from the brand Dipper. It's a personal sonar that you can cast with your fishing rod. You can throw into the water, and it gives you what you see on the left. It creates a map of the bottom. You can see also, like in your phone app, you can see where the fish are, where the schools are, where the vegetation is. So it enhances a lot the experience of fishing. And it also collects lots of data. We have arranged an agreement with this company for this project to be able to analyze all this data. And for example, allow me. For example, we just submitted a paper analyzing how reliable could be for us to use the data we get from Dipper, because as this is a personal device, we know the location and the activity of each angler that uses this device. So maybe it will be a much easier and efficient way of count how many anglers are angling at a given time in a given location. So we can see how much pressure these anglers are putting in an environment, or what's their behavior. And regarding the behavior, another way of using this data is this other project. This has been mostly my work during the past months. It's analyzing how these anglers are moving around in different areas of Europe. For example, this graph here was an attempt to analyze how the COVID lockdowns, the related COVID-related lockdowns, how have affected the. I mean, if you cannot go to work or go to the pub, what do? You can go fishing. So we have been analyzing the effect of COVID in these spikes of fishing fishing engagement during the lockdown. And something very interesting is that for different countries, you get very different behaviors. And I really love in the Czech Republic how it's a wave. Usually in spring, summer, you get this wave. But for example, in Lithuania, they like very much ice fishing. And so you see also spikes in ice fishing. And in Denmark, is a bit different. So it's different for every country. And this data collected by the anglers, who are our agents in the field, we can use them to inform authorities to see, for example, what do we do if, for example, if we put a law here and prevent people from going fishing here, what will happen with the other places that are not protected, for example? And will we see an influx of anglers on this side. This is very useful data, and particularly is much faster than, for example, going around doing polls. Like if you have to send emails to people, how many times do you fish every day? You get many potential errors in your data of people that write their impression more or less, or they don't reply to the emails, for example. Or you have to send people to the field to count them with the binoculars and see there are 700 anglers here. With this, you see the real data, and we can do predictions about it. But that's not all. Like these devices are also collecting real-time images of what's out there under the water. So we can see how many fish there are in a rough way, or we can see how the environment changes. So this has a lot of potential to have like a spot, a point of being able to control what is in the water at any given time. Another Another piece of technology that has improved a lot in these last years is underwater cameras. Before you will go, I mean, you couldn't do like when with bird watching, you couldn't go there with a camera and take photos. Underwater, you couldn't use it. But now anybody can have a camera and go underwater. And I can show you my own videos with this in freshwater are fantastic. You can see on the right, you can see I was using this small camera to capture the behavior of this guy in Texas defending his nest. He has cleaned everything. I mean, any person now can have direct access to knowledge of fish more than ever before. And so there is potential for people other than anglers to go out there and start fishing in the same sense as we do birding now, like go see fish. And you will think that this is far-fetched. No, this is not going to happen. How is people going to go just to go fishing like that with their cameras? Well, I can tell you that this is already happening. This is an example from Australia where you have a tour that you can hire, and they take you on a freshwater ride to look for everything up, below, and under the water. This one is from the US. Like you can also you get the snorkeling equipment and the wetsuit, and then you go around with a guide looking underwater. This is the same. You go with a canoe, but you look at the fish underneath. And this is very interesting. A common complaint I get is that no, it will be impossible because the water it will be very murky. You couldn't see anything. Well, if they are able to do this in the UK, I think there are places to do this anywhere. And then it's happening. It's happening. Little by little, we are getting more interested in what's underwater too. And this has a special advantage, which is that this is also getting quite popular. It's the citizen science. People are getting more and more interested about collecting their observations and sharing them. And there are a plethora of apps to follow this. To identify plants and to see that I saw a griffon belcher or the snowy of the other news. But there is something happening here. This is one of the most popular apps to collect observations, iNaturalist, which I myself use. And you can see there 86 million observations. But how many of these are birds, for example? 11 million. Almost 12, but fish so far it is not even 1 million. So it's starting, but it needs a bigger push. It needs more outreach and more push from us that are starting there. And a very, very good thing is that anglers are catching up on this much faster. For example, this apart from our partnership with Deeper, for example, this other app, Fishbrain, a Danish one, is also joining scientists and to analyze all the data they are collecting. Because on the left, you can see lots of different activities, outreach activities, citizen science activities, all based on angling and fishing. So they are already on top of this technology. There is a lot of potential here to use anglers and to engage anglers on outreach and to be our ambassadors of freshwater biodiversity. And one of the projects we have been working on, and especially our next presenter, is this particular app aimed at anglers, which is aiming to collect more specific data, more useful data for scientific purposes. Because usually in social media or iNaturalist, you collect only the photos and maybe sometimes you say where you were and all of this. But something that it will be really, really useful for conservation purposes, for research purposes, is collect the size of your captures in the case of anglers. And this is something we will hear about in a few minutes after my talk, more deeper. So I'm not gonna go deeper in this. But I just wanted to end sharing the main webpage of this project we are working for. Here, as you can see, there are resources for anglers, for scientists, for managers, and then how we are using this data to promote conservation in fish and to really transform this data into knowledge that will finally make this change, this swatch, or at least to extend this meaning for fishing. And I mean, with the years, I've ended up knowing what this means. This to know them is to love them. And it's in general is that we don't care, we humans don't care about the things we don't know about. And this happens in every aspect of our lives. Like we don't care mostly about refugees because they are far away, we don't know about them. The moment you know about them, you start caring a bit more. And with animals is special. With animals, they have something that goes beyond that. The more you know about them, the more you end up loving them. And like last day's talk have proven that. I'm still remembering that image of this terrified woman holding the snake. And I think of this, like this woman wants to hold the snake and will end up loving the snake because she has learned about it. And then we can hopefully get to a point in which we get this craziness also about fish. So that is my hope, and we will be working hard to get to that level. And with this, I would like to thank you all for listening and all the funding bodies. And I'm happy to answer your questions.
Okay. Thank you, Nando. What a trip of emotions.
Roller coaster.
Okay, so is there any question to Fernando?
And I think Asta should be already, so maybe she can ask me question and kick
Okay,
me.
so we have
not explaining things.
We have here Asta, so I'll let her come in.
And she can join also the church. And you can turn on the audience camera.
Yes, okay. So Asta is here.
Hello, Asta.
Hello, Asta.
I think you are mute.
Am I?
No, Asta.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Ah, ya está. So,
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone.
we can
Can you
hear
hear me?
you.
No, I'm hearing in the computer. Wait.
Ah, okay.
So it's,
Maybe.
it is me that is. No. Can you try again?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing. Is it working?
Microphone. Speaker.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am talking. Now
Yes,
we
I
just
can hear you. Let's see.
figure out the
Here
technology.
it has to be the HDMI.
Ah, yes, yes. Claro.
Unmute your speaker. Okay, let's try now.
Silencia.
Okay. Is it working now? No? Mute. Go on mute. Unmute. Any luck?
Yeah. Do you have? No, I think it's hasta. Sorry.
What shall I do? Let me know if I
I
need
think
to mute myself or not.
yes, I think it's so. No. No, it's muted. And now? No. ¿Toca el micro? No, está apagado. Which one is? Nada. So. Ah. No.
But it's like a bagel. Shall I say something? Hello? Working? I can't hear you guys, so if it's working, let me know or something.
Ahora? Hola, hola, hola. Now you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh my, finally. Yeah, this. Well, okay, then I'm ready for questions. But first, yeah, Asta is in charge of all of this I have talked about. So I please apologies if I said something wrong, but I'm so grateful for you joining to fix. You are live
Okay.
from Lithuania.
Okay.
It's breaking. Don't know why, but okay, let's see. Can you hear me all right? And let me know if you want me to talk.
Yes. Now, if anyone in the audience have questions, that you okay. Okay. For now, most users are still, I mean, Germany has a lot, but this company is growing fast. This sonar, I think in the Czech Republic, the order of 10,000. In Lithuania, voices. How about now? Can you hear me better now, Asta? I changed to this. Hola, hola, hola.
No, pues no.
Pues este.
Pero, o sea, ese es el de la sala solo.
Vale, vale. No, but now.
Tiene que ser de ordenador.
Now you should hear me better. I changed also this microphone. Is it better?
Yep, I think.
So yeah, many anglers are using now the device.
And you normally provide it to the sonar?
No, this is a commercial company that sells them. And naturally, people want, I mean, as it enhances so much the fishing experience, many anglers are taking it because it's so much fun to see where the fish are and how the bottom is. So it's a commercial venture. And this is like the good part of capitalism, no? you get a very big push in anything that is commercial like that. What we are doing as scientists is piggybacking on it and reusing this data for even better good. So and I think it's going to happen like with the birds, no? Something a commercial device such as this binoculars for the opera or the cameras, the underwater cameras. All of this is enabling more users into knowing what's underwater and to really getting engaged. So that's at least my hope.
So there is some database device sonar. You can find them on the database. Those anglers started to use the sonar, right?
Yes, it's anonymous data, but the company sends us the data, anonymous data, or on the activity of these anglers. And then we will have access also to these scans and then to what the sonar actually sees. That will be much more difficult to maneuver and to manage, but it will be also very useful.
Well, that's actually not finalized yet. At the moment, we have the anonymous data, and we haven't that sort of potential that we could have scans. This is a huge amount of data and some work, but yes, even the anonymous user data is already a lot of data work. So yeah. Okay, can I just ask how much does it cost? This approximately?
I don't know. It's like 30 euros or something like that.
So I can't actually the questions from the audience.
I was asking what's the price of this sonar, and I think it's.
Oh no, I think it varies from 100 to a few hundred, depending on what you want to have.
There are many different models, and there is a very basic one. Like I don't remember. I thought I saw a very cheap one, and then it can get to several hundreds, depending on the get. Yes.
And I'm wondering if you are planning to analyze, the relationship between the number of people using the sonar and the number of catches or the fish taken by the fishermen.
So
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. One thing is that we know the number of users of this sonar. Then we have to find a way to extrapolate that number to the total user of anglers, the total anglers of a country. And then once we find this extrapolation relationship, we can predict, using the data from the sonar, we can predict other numbers. And this is the paper I was mentioning that we have recently submitted, in which we use traditional methods of counting, like visual counts of of anglers in a lake, in a very big lake in Lithuania. And we compare this method also with drone counts that could be also very efficient once the drones get at the consumer level almost, or we use in this case a military grade drone that counts them from the air. And then we compare that with our extrapolation from the data from the sonar. And then we see that apart from being very efficient and much cheaper, the numbers are equivalent. It depends on certain cases. For example, it changes if it's ice season, at least in Lithuania, because then the device gets much more popular. So then you have to have that into account, but still we can do a very safe extrapolation.
But if I understood correctly, the question was whether it also relates to the number of fish taken out of the water, and that would be really interesting to know. But we don't know, of course. Finding out how many anglers there are, that's hard enough. But finding out how much they catch, this is that's a holy grail of recreational fishing research, basically. It's really hard. We are trying to do it now, but at the moment, most of the reliable work that is used in analysis is actually going and asking people and doing surveys and counting what they do. And that's a lot of work. But of course, that's why we need technology, and that's why we need apps where people could actually report in theory what they catch, and you could at least extrapolate. But the bigger question maybe is even whether using this sonar will allow you to catch more fish. And of course, so whether it's actually good for conservation or whether it's bad. I mean, does it increase the pressure on the fish because you can hunt down every single fish? And initially, when I heard about it, I thought, oh no, now there is no secret, no hiding place for the fish left at all. Basically, they can all be found. But it is not necessarily clear. I mean, we talked to a lot of anglers about it. Does it actually do you catch more fish or not? What do you think? And I'm not like, no, the company people are listening. Of course, they might be thinking that that might improve the catch, but actually that's not even the main goal. The goal is to enhance your experience so that you actually can see something underwater, and it's fun. It's actually, and when we talk to anglers, it turns out a lot of them are saying, I'm actually not even catching a lot of fish. I spend half of the day just going and using the sonar in different places and observing, and by the time I decide where to fish, then it's actually time to go home or something like that. So in a way, by learning about it, by watching it, suddenly people become interested in just like, how does it look? Like, okay, there is this big fish. So, I'm not
the exact parallel with the technology of the birds. Like people were scared that if you had binoculars, you will be better at hunting, and then it will be bad, the technology for the bird conservation. Yeah. But it's happening exactly the same. They get engaged in what's underwater.
Yeah. And of course, it would be even more exciting if you had a camera, so you could actually see the fish and their behavior and so on. Then you are even more interested in seeing it, because like today, like even some photos that Fernando showed from iNaturalist, most of the fish that are reported there, at least the ones that were there, are dead ones. They are the ones that are kind of taken out of the water, and they don't actually look how they normally would look. I mean, it's like reporting birds that are sort of all dead. I mean, nobody's doing that anymore, but yeah, maybe we'll get to that with fish as well.
I mean, if you think about it, this is a general trend in society. It's even from a neutral point. We are not saying that angling is bad, but we can see already the trend. For example, we were talking about it the other day, that in Germany, it's now illegal to fish for fun. Like they see it as wrong. Like if you fish something, you have to take it home to eat, or you cannot. It's like strange. It's like the thinking is changing, and the more we know the fish, the more attached we feel to them, like it happens now with birds. So it's something that is naturally changing in society. But we will see. We have to ride this trend and see where it takes us.
But I just would like to say that it has some positive sides also. For example, in the case of the European eel, you know, the Czech Republic is one of the last places in Europe which have European eel because to be able to bring them from the Atlantic Ocean, catch them on there and bring it somewhere, it needs money. And there would be no money for this without money from fishermen who want to, you know, pay for the license to catch these fish. So there are some positive sides of fishing too, for example, and the European eel is a great example. So yeah, it's not always bad.
Exactly the title of my talk. Like I think that they are the first ones interested in keeping freshwater biodiversity, and the more they know, the more they will want to preserve it, and the more we collect this all data from everywhere and create knowledge for everyone, the more we will all love also what's underneath the water. So I totally agree.
Any other question? So does that company deliver worldwide this device?
Yeah, you also want to get one. Yeah, I think you can buy it from America. Well, if there are no more questions, now we are lucky enough to have So now Asta will tell us a bit more about this fish size project in this app. So I think you have power to share your screen.
Yes, let me see. I want to. Yeah. Well, there's always this to share that, but then if you make full screen. Okay, do you see it full screen? Is it looking all right? Okay. This is sort of a little bit unexpected because until this morning, I wasn't sure if I will be able to join and attend. And so this is one of the topics that I've been interested for the last 10 years. And when we talk about conservation and citizen science and biodiversity data, there is a lot of that being recorded and collected, but it's actually, there is something very different for mammals and insects and birds and fish. And there is, well, especially fish, but a lot of aquatic life, but especially fish. And that is that your size for fish, if you are a fish, your size is often more important than the species that you are. Because, so for example, if you know, lions, let's say, eat zebras, but big zebras never eat small lions. So the nature, the relationships are not reversed. Whereas in fish, it's different. If you are a small predator, you can actually get eaten by a big prey that is going to be your future prey. And so the size actually is an extremely important sort of information. And if we go to various biodiversity platforms and they only record what species have been caught, it doesn't tell us very much, because if a tuna is, I don't know, 1 meter long, or if a tuna is 1 millimeter long, that is actually a very different kind of species. That is a different species, even though you might identify it as with that species. So that's why for fish, it's extremely important to collect body size information. And this is what Fernando already mentioned, that we have unprecedented scale. There is a data revolution happening, and anglers are helping with that. Citizen science is helping with that. And scientists are trying to understand how to use this data in terms of catch and survival rates and tag recapture, reporting invasive species. But as I said, fish size is extremely important. And that is because fish size is very important for fish. As I said, it's more important than its species identity. It determines all sorts of recovery potential in the population, interactions, value for humans. And it's also affected by a lot of factors like fishing, temperature, food, predation. And so fish can vary in size massively. Size determines whether you eat or whether you will get eaten, and even small differences in size will have a different result. A very interesting recent research shows that traditionally we believe that, okay, I'll try to use this highlighter. Traditionally, can you see the highlighter? It has normally been assumed that the amount of eggs that a fish produces scales sort of linearly with its body size. So it's always, let's say, 10% of its body weight. And that's still used usually in fisheries. But the more data we collect, the more it turns out that it's actually not linear. It's sort of exponential. So in a way, this one big cod will produce almost 40 times more, even though it maybe weighs, I don't know, 10 times more. And so it has been estimated that a 30 kilogram of cod, one cod of 30 kilograms will produce the same number of eggs as 37 fish of 2 kilograms with a total weight of 74 kilograms. So actually, size and big fish are very important for populations. Big fish also often spawn over longer periods of time. They have more eggs and they have more reserves. And so let's say something happened and there is not enough food for larvae at this time. So population that consists of small fish, they will suffer. The ones that had big fish will have a higher chance to survive. But of course, size of fish, and when we talk about loving them and knowing them, it's amazing for people. Like big fish are just beautiful. They are very interesting. Of course, people want to catch them like that, but simply also just observing and swimming with them is important. And also it's important to say that fisheries nevertheless are an essential and the only food source for a large number of people on Earth. And it is important for them not only because it's beautiful and so on, but because they need to live. And so their size is also important because it's important for population resilience and for recovery rates. But fish sizes are changing. That's been a topic of my research for the last 10 or so years. And one reason is that we are taking out all the big fish. There was a recent paper, which I haven't included now, that shows that basically all animals in the ocean above a certain size basically disappeared, including majority of the big fish. But also historical data shows how, so there is the study that shows the trophy hunting in Florida Keys. In 1958, we see fish are bigger than humans. They're a very proud champion of the competition. Then another round of proud champions in 1980s, where fish are sort of half-size the humans. And this is in 2007, champions of the competition. And these, in each case, people were very happy. They thought that they caught the biggest fish. And that shifting baselines, as you probably have heard, is extremely and especially powerful in the aquatic ecosystems, in the ocean conservation, because this is something underwater, that's something we don't see, and that's something we somehow don't remember. So there is another example here about the cod in the Baltic Sea, how not very long time ago, 1987, there is this photo of a person hugging lots of big cod. And this is a photo from 2 years ago, where not sure why, and it's actually not entirely clear. It's called zombie cod, how for some reason they are just not growing. They are small and they're suffering. They're full of parasites. The cod in the Baltic Sea has been completely collapsed, overfished. So yes, and they are not recovering. So yes, fishing is of course the first reason why sizes are changing. We are taking out all the biggest fish and we're leaving, if let's say size distribution in an fish population would look like that, with lots of big fish like this, in a fish population, it will become smaller and smaller, creating this so-called size deficit. Now, another reason why, so this is one of the citizen science programs that allows us to explore fish underwater, but I'm not actually going much deeper into that. Another reason why fish is changing is climate change. And you might have heard there was a lot of discussion that fish are shrinking because of climate. That's not necessarily so always clear, but it's clear that the temperature is changing fish sizes. Some of them, they seem to be getting bigger on average, others are smaller, but size is changing. So what can anglers and citizen science do about it? Well, just report the fish size that they see or that they catch. And either you do catch and release, or you bring the fish home and eat it, because it can be a very sustainable source of protein and sort of local food. If you actually are not a vegetarian and you need some animal protein, that could work. And why to do it? Because when we have information about sizes, even small amount of information could be very useful, because we can already start applying these statistical methods to identify what is the most likely distribution in the population and what is the most likely size deficit in this population. And maybe we would find out that situation is much better than we thought, but we need to know. And so that's why we are launching this Fish Size Project app very soon. And if any of you know anglers or people who would like to participate and test it and join this project, we need all hands on deck. And we are trying to encourage people to log observations, of course, anglers that catch fish, but also fish markets, if they are local, if we can identify species and place and size, that's already interesting. And hopefully more and more of underwater observations that we can actually also record. So a few screenshots. And so hopefully with all of this information, we can answer how much has the fish size changed? Species across the globe, what does it mean? And what can we actually do about it? So you can learn more about it on our website, which needs urgent update. There is more information coming on it now. So if it's not there yet, when you check it, come back in a few weeks. And thank you. Or I'll stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Asta. It was great. Really interesting. So we will open now for questions. Any... Lucas, Asta. Oh, it's me again.
No.
Hola.
I think no.
Okay. So does anybody have any question?
I would like to ask how much the size of the fish is. I don't know how to ask this question. How it is enforced by, let's say, governments in regards to industrial fishing. I know.
Sorry, Fernando, you have to unmute because I can't hear the audience otherwise.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I would like to ask if this minimum size of fish that are, or the size of fish that are caught is somehow reflected in legislation, in industrial fisheries, and so on. You know, the more we know about the importance of the size for the recovery, success, and so on, if it's somehow reflected and enforced also.
Well, so traditionally, we only protect small fish somehow because there is a minimum legal landing size that fish has to reach. And that traditionally was aiming to protect fish so that they can reproduce at least once before they're being caught. But there is more and more evidence, but fisheries management is very conservative and it's very slow. So despite all of the evidence, how big fish are important and that it would be good to protect them, this, to my knowledge, hasn't moved very much. In some places, in some way, you already get these upper size limits so that you cannot catch something above a certain size. It wouldn't be impossible to have something like a big fish exclusion devices for trawls or something like that, where you can only take intermediate sizes and sort of have like a dome shaped selectivity. All of that would be possible if there was a will. As we know, at the moment, World Trade Organization is supposed to ban or hopefully ban the harmful fisheries subsidies, which is a huge topic and a huge problem for overfishing in the world. Let's see whether that's going to happen. So yeah, there should be a will. But I guess the ocean is a difficult one. But when we come to freshwater fisheries, where it is mostly people, and not even fisheries, freshwater fish, let's say, right? Where it's, to a large degree, it's people. So here, we can actually change behaviors. And as we know, behavior can change very quickly if there is a really strong force for that. And it's interesting that even though Lithuania doesn't have maximum size limits, a lot of anglers say that they actually release the big fish. And I have heard that if people share a catch on Facebook or something, that they're really big fish that they caught, and if it's obvious that they didn't release it, they get really demonized on Facebook. How dare you? Why are you doing this? So in a way, that attitude is there. People are realizing it. Also, big fish quite often is not so good to eat. That means, let's say, it's tough already and so on. So our hope is that maybe that's where we can have an impact. And that's where maybe we can, by talking about it more, then that's actually what can change. Much harder to change governmental subsidies and big companies in the open ocean.
Hello, Asta. I have a question about the app. I mean, do you think that it's intuitive enough that, for example, Czech anglers could use it? Because I have no idea about the language, how different it is from the Czech language. So would it be some potential, even right now, that Czech anglers could use it, your application?
Fernando, can you say it again? I couldn't understand.
Yeah, I can even respond it, but the question was like, will it be possible for Czech anglers to use the app already now? And Lucas was concerned about the language, that if it's in Lithuanian, but as I understand, it will be easy to translate, right?
Yes, that's our goal. We need our champions in each country. Maybe Alka wants to be one, to help us adapt it to other countries. So, I mean, it's Lithuanian and English now. We are trying to build it in such a way that it would be easy to translate. You just translate a few things and then it automatically can switch. You choose the language, it can switch. And then, of course, the goal is to find out who are the stewards of the data in the country, right? If we are collecting data from the Czech Republic, who will get it and how will we manage it? So, of course, the anglers themselves, our goal is to give a report for each angler at the end of the year. Oh, that's your catch, that's and so on. And we'll have some general report on the website. But then it's some, maybe perhaps local fisheries authorities or local communities or whatever it is, who actually should also get the data in according to whatever data rules, anonymous or whatever it is the data is that actually should go. So that's the challenging part.
Maybe part of our future project.
Yes, fingers crossed, hopefully.
What are the functions now of the app? Like, does it recognize the species or just the size? And if there is already some feedback for the fishermen?
So could Katka ask if you could describe the functions of the app as it is right now, if it has the ability to recognize a species, for example, or if it gives already some information to the anglers?
It doesn't have an ability to recognize the species. That's one of our goals, but that's not necessarily that simple and fast. But at the moment, it's mostly the goal of the app is for the anglers to have like their own diary if they record what they catch. And at least in Lithuania, we are also link it now with the weather information. So you basically have all your statistics, what you caught, where, and in what weather conditions, and so on. Or maybe what you observed, and then also a way, if you see a weird observation, you can share it with a scientific audience. You can say, I report some strange observation, then it goes to scientists. Is it a disease? Is it a new species? And you report it to a community so that you can make it public so other people can see it as well. And so it's mostly this way at the moment. So you contribute to science and you get your own sort of summary of activity.
Very good.
I would like to ask, do you also somehow record or publish the changes of environment under the water? How it influences the fishes population? If you also somehow taking the data of the environment, not about the species, but the environment.
Yeah. Should I repeat or?
Yes, thanks. Please repeat.
I think the question is if the app or the future plans for the app include the adding of other environmental variables, like to see how the environment is changing and how it affects the fish.
At the moment, not. Like, it would be nice to have like a metaverse, an app for everything, but I mean, it just would be really, I think, too much and too hard. So, but there are other sources of information that you can get probably to observe. There's various monitoring studies of nitrogen and pollution, phosphorus and other things. So yes, once you have data, then you can start analyzing how it relates to other factors. But I think still the apps work if they are relatively focused. They have to have a sort of relatively simple goal and task. If you start putting too much into them, then it just becomes too much.
Yeah, but I was more thinking not about the app, but more about the sonar or some different equipment or different things that you can compare. Like let's say the number of the fishes and actually what you see under the water, the environmental.
Yes, definitely. Well, so we don't have the underwater scans. We were talking with a company that it would be great to have them, but it's a huge project. It would be interesting for them as well. Like, it's sort of hard to describe the immensity of this data and this project. So we sort of thinking it would be great. And yes, we could actually compare it to environmental change and habitat change and all sorts of things, but analyzing it all is would require quite some effort.
Very well. Well, thank you so much, Asta.
Thank you. Have a good meeting. I will say bye now, and nice to see all the faces.
Thank you for joining and talk soon.
Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So
Do you have sound? I don't think you have sound.
I'm about to show some magic. So let's play again with the
Alberto, tu micrófono, o sea, tú estás no te... you are talking for them. So we have a new echo here that we cannot find.
All right.
I think this camera produces also. Because I've been listening to sound from this camera even when the computer is mute. So let's try. Hola, hola, hola.
Hello.
Simply, I will just leave this and go there, and that's yeah. And then we don't need this. Yes. So I mean, I just turn off here, and then you turn on your mic.
Now, hello. Okay, you're right. Okay, so we have our all the talks done, I think.
Yes.
What's
our situation?
What's our actual situation, please?
With the other presenters? Are other people going to join us for a general discussion? Iñaki would? Excellent.
Okay, so now where's the program? Here, please. we have the plenary discussion. Okay, perfect. Okay, so give us a couple of minutes so we can arrange all the new I don't know how to call it.
Yes, as Alberto said before, this has been a total roller coaster of emotions and technology problems. We cherish technology, but at the same time, my goodness, finding echoes around it's a bit hard. I'm gonna check what people are saying in YouTube. And so the plan for now, what we are going to do is to have a little discussion, maybe in general, about the whole conference, picking topics.
Yeah, no, but it was at the end.
Yeah,
at the beginning.
I was checking the comments.
All perfect.
And then if anyone wants to join the discussion live, he or she is welcome to do so and encouraged even. It seems that Iñaki Abella, our plenary speaker, will be joining too. And yeah, you are welcome. Just send a message, an email to us, and we will give you the Zoom link. And you can, I think we can even put it in the chat because I don't see much risk of a Zoom bomb. Right. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I have so much feelings, so many feelings. Lots of emotions.
Lots of
with this conference.
Having to juggle this stress with our slight hangover from last night wine, it's challenging.
No, it's not. Of course, we haven't.
Never. I've never been hangover. But okay. Tell me one thing you got from the conference. I thought it can be the last one. It can be something that shocked you in one of the beginning talks.
The one that I would choose is that yours is the best, first of all, but the second one is no. There are so many cool projects carried out by cool people. I'm not. You are the best, but it blew my mind. Every single project in every single square of the world.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I think, or at least what I've understood is that it's so important to get local people involved in our projects. So it's key in every, no matter how complex the project is. But I think it must participate. It must be part of the
Yeah, they have to be part. No, but this is true. Imagine if this has been a tiny, small conference organized in the last minute.
Not so tiny. It's an international conference.
But I mean,
we've been in Amazonas, we've been in Africa, we've been in Czech Republic, in Spain.
That's what I mean. Like,
Indonesia.
If something we have organized with so little time gathers so many people from everywhere and so many different. Imagine how much more is out there. That's what I was trying to say. I'm not undermining our own efforts and throwing stones to our roofs, but I'm impressed also about the sheer number of projects everywhere. Because that's it. I mean, we started telling people a month ago, and usually for conferences you do it with years in advance. Like next conference will be in 2027. And we did it in the last second, and we got many people from many different countries. So that tells you that, as we were doing before with the sonar, like we can extrapolate and say, wow, there must be so many people working hard all over the world that we don't know about. So this is something to think about too. Like we need more of these conferences, more more of these accents.
But
I think you don't want to organize anymore.
but before we should take a rest,
Yeah, I think
a little siesta or something like that.
yeah. Now we focus on the wine and have a little break from all these heart attacks.
No, but I think it's worth it.
It was totally worth it. I had a blast. Like usually I will just cry of stress, but I think lately, I don't know, this was the shortest time I had ever to prepare a talk, and I even have had fun. No, I don't know. I don't know how much you were able to understand from my patchy talk, but it was fun to do it even under this pressure.
Yes, that's the best thing I think of this job. The fun.
the fun. Yeah,
not the fun, but the fun.
The fun thing.
Because the money isn't the best thing of this.
Yeah, absolutely, we didn't get into this to get rich, but we have the potential to sleep very well at night. We don't use very much this potential, yes. but we have it.
We get exhausted together.
We get exhausted, but there is potential to sleep good. We know, I mean, we are happy with what we do. No, we do things for a good purpose, and that's
we're proud of it.
Yeah, I don't know why we deleted all this map that we prepare here.
Because it was our secret.
It was our secret. We don't want
our master plan.
People to steal our how to organize a conference secret.
Yeah.
So, do we have any news from Iñaki? Nothing. You send. He should send.
No, he's not here.
Not yet. I can maybe send him a WhatsApp.
Okay, we're trying to contact Iñaki, the first talk of the Congress.
It's today.
Yeah. So then we can.
I think we can start ourselves.
Yes.
And then while Iñaki joins.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, how should we do this? I think one way will be to go through the talks maybe, and then feel what comment on what we think about the talk, or if it brings up any topics.
Mm-hmm. So we have the plan.
We can jump Iñaki, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wait for him.
Yeah, we can make a little summary of we can do a travel throughout the world, throughout the different projects that has been part of the Congress. Yes. So we started in Africa with Iñaki, in Africa and in everywhere. Latin America and everywhere, maybe in the world. It's really explorer.
Mm-hmm.
Then we come back to Czech Republic to learn a lot of agricultural birds and the decrease of agricultural birds. Then we learned about the European your Sasliks, the European ground squirrel in Slovakia. Mm-hmm. I think yes, first in Slovakia and then here in Czech Republic.
And that was 2 days ago.
That was 2 days ago. That was last month.
It feels like it was in 1997.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Then we got this amazing project of Indonesia with an eco-friendly cafe in Czech Republic, and yes, it's
I think there will be more questions.
Yes, of course, there are a lot of questions about that project.
I mean, for people listening now, as you can imagine, the few people that have managed to gather here despite all COVID nightmares and everything, we have been also, we kept on talking during the lunch and the dinners and after dinners and these projects have been, we have been going through the bad and the good and what's
and the way we can go there.
Yeah, also I'm sorry for people voting, but we are first.
Sorry, guys.
We have taken our step. I remember it was during lunch yesterday that Alberto and I were fighting to showcase our fit to the project.
And that fight is still alive.
Yes. But also we could sell ourselves as a package, no?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So then we have people from the IUCN talking some.
Jamie, that was a very interesting talking. Very interesting talk. Very high level thinking.
Yes.
Planning.
Yes. Yes. We should take notes of that because we have a very low level of
thinking right now. It's like the conservation pyramid of Maslow, no? You know about this Maslow needs?
A good visual example.
So it's like we are working here like suffering in the trenches, no? Like very focused on the animal we are working on or the problem we are trying to solve. And then it's so good that there is someone overseeing what's happening in different projects, and then can see patterns or what's working in general. What are the commonalities in errors or in things that work better? I mean, even the title of this our description of this conference was that, no, we want to see the commonalities and gather what works and what doesn't in conservation. So Jamie's talk, it was great, not to know that there is someone looking at everything and trying to find shortcuts and what works. I think is very important. It's like when there is an emergency, an accident or something, and you have to go and help. They always say that there should be one person not helping anyone, just overseeing what's happening, and then not even that person shouldn't even talk to the ambulance. It will be someone else. There has to be someone overseeing how the situation is,
coordinating everything. Yeah.
I think this is really important, but also difficult for my brain
because we are the workers. We are the lumberjacks down there.
We are going to continue rambling like this, but if anytime this triggers some comment,
please help us.
Like we also have our limits.
Because this is, and I think we should speak something about this. The show as a part of the conservation project.
Absolutely.
It's like we would talk about the power of social media and
the engagement
and so on.
If you want to have the people involved in conservation, you need to get to them. You need to be able to engage them. If not, it's like us talking here by ourselves. We need the people, no? So what? How important? What percentage of the whole thing should be this engagement, this getting to people? And then I don't know, nowadays we also talk a lot about it, that both Alberto and I do sometimes ridiculous things like getting costumes on and I get as an otter, or I don't know how many costumes you have. Costumes
like this one.
Are you gonna?
No, it doesn't matter because it's this one.
It matters to me.
You have like this one.
Yeah, so Alberto is good. Alberto brought a costume to the Czech Republic. it's not possible. For real.
So how important is to show on? So my talk was about bugs. So have to
This is amazing.
All right.
Get closer.
So please. This is important for conservation, I think. Or at least it justifies our behavior. I don't know if it's important already or if it's really important.
I think it gives you leverage. It gives you power because you need people to remember. You need people to then. Oh yeah, I have an anecdote for this. A million years ago, also when I was a kid in the last century, or maybe a bit later, but not much more. Mm-hmm. I went to a summer camp in the north of Spain, and it was an English summer camp. Thank you, parents, to such a happy.
He's using it now.
No, I mean that a summer camp and then you have to go study English.
Oh no.
But, yeah. But anyway, I was happy then because one of my teachers there, of English teachers, he was absolutely nuts. He was crazy. It was so much fun you will be sitting in the classroom and he will enter the room like trotting on all fours, for example, everybody laughing. And everybody thought he was crazy. So then 1 year later or something like that, I kept in contact with him. Mm-hmm. And he was some British guy, but he was living in Madrid at the time. And then we went, a group of friends, we went to Madrid and I asked him if we could stay at his place. And I was warning my friends, they didn't know him. And I was warning, I mean, he's super nice, but he's a bit crazy. Like, I don't know what will happen. And absolutely lots of things happen. But the heart of this anecdote is what happened when we entered the house. And he had, at the entrance, it was a big mess. But we all noticed that in the coat hanger, mm-hmm. he had like a normal coat for winter and then a gorilla costume. And then we were telling him, like, why do you have a gorilla costume here? Do you use it so often that you need it in your entrance, in the entrance of your house? And then he started telling us, yeah, you know, some days when I feel like it, I don the costume, I put it on, and I go out in the streets in Madrid, and I go around, scare people, jump on the car, get in the subway and run around like crazy.
So the day gets better.
And then we were laughing, but you are so crazy. And then he stared at us like I'm gonna do it for the audience. Like he was blanking, stared like saying, yes, you know, when I do this and people see me and receive this shock, when they go home in the evening, they don't just turn on the television. They talk to each other at home. They have something to tell their families. And what I'm doing this way is creating a connection, creating a better world because people then are talking instead of watching TV. And then look,
this is just a genius.
You see?
Yes.
Like yes. To this day, it still shocks me that such a crazy person could have such a lucid moment. And he taught me so much. Apart from English.
So fun.
So I think
I'm so fun.
I think
okay, so
I'm gonna embrace it too.
Yes, please.
So and let's go crazy. Let's engage people in conservation. Let's do it. It has to be. Iñaki's having lunch. So please. So please. It's good that we are crazy, but
yeah, please stop this.
Let's have a serious conversation. No? Kaka,
what do you think?
What's your highlight from the conference? What have you learned? What will you take home with you? Or some anecdote, something that you remember fondly.
No, I mean, there are many, like you already said, that there are many projects with very nice, like novel ideas how to involve people. Like, I don't know, for example, these beehives in Africa. It's like win-win, no? The situation, because on one side you have to protect against the damage, and on the other side it's already the income and.
Yeah. You are even helping the bees.
Yeah.
And the trash, being able to translocate these ideas, because this is something that you can use also now for the bears in Ecuador, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And then
they do this.
I mean, there was what? Not good.
But no, he's saying that in order to raise.
Yeah, important point.
That was to raise the bears population.
I mean, if you make the bears interested in the beehives, they don't go to the cattle, no? So it's, I mean, thank you, Lucas. Like, you can adapt the ideas, not only translocate them. Yeah, that would be nice. What other examples do we have, or things that we remember fondly?
I have to do a point, but you already said it. It's always important if you do something, especially this conservation project. The people has to know about it. They have to be involved, and they have to know exactly what you are doing there. And this is always the long things to do, and it's taking a lot of energy, but it's absolutely for 100% it's important. Because if they don't agree with your activities, there will be also the conflict. It can be raise and be bigger growing up. And then you will be on the level that will be more like the activist who is doing something, and not even ask or collect some information from local people. So I see it from our experiences that it's taking a long time, and it's even better to start with the local people before you even starting to with your project there. So take time and involve the people, and it has to be always different approach in different countries. But I got some ideas even from this conference, so it's perfect. And yeah, it's always important for me when I see conferences. I was working in different places around the world, and I can try to move it to the places where we work. And some ideas work very well, and I got some from this conference, so that's good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I think it's like a thriller film with happy ending, all conservation projects, but because we conservationists get in anywhere as the bad character of the film, and then after a lot of amounts of work, the film ends with a happy ending story, because people first hate us, and then I don't know how, but we managed to become the other side. So we get loved by people, as we said in the different projects. So it's first of all, like Sarah's bats, for instance, she was the crazy girl of the bats, like, please don't get coronavirus in this village, and then it ends like with rampagers in there with don't touch our bats, please. And so it's
changing the perception of
the mindset of people. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
I think what is important to also stress is that, for the potential students of the biology, you go to study the biology because you love the animals, but be aware that sooner or later you are coming back to the humans again, and you must deal with them.
You have to deal with humans.
Yes. I think I don't know, it's just my idea, it's my opinion, personal opinion, but I think conservationist or biologist or any environmental work is, we ourselves think that we hate people and love animals, and it's the other way. So at the end, we are, at least we are one of the most people that love people. So we love people more even than the rest of the society, I think, because our work is so focused with people, not only with animals, but also with people.
No, I know some guys I will not.
Yeah, you will wear it on a t-shirt. I hate it.
But we discussed also in the morning that it's very important to be correct what you say to public and very careful because it can be very tricky. If you say something like you promise them too much or you a little bit somehow change the data, it comes back to you always.
Absolutely.
In future.
Yeah, language is such a weird thing. This is like this fishing and birding. Like it can get so ingrained in your brain what words mean. So it can happen perfectly that you start a project somewhere and then you use the words you have been using as a conservationist or as a scientist thinking about this word. And then you try to use the same when talking to a general audience that maybe is detached from this scientific term, for example, and maybe they get a totally different impression of it. And this happens a lot with ecology. Ecology from a scientific point of view, I mean, it's a science, no? But ecology, if you say it in the street, is, I don't know, Greenpeace crazy jumping. Recycling. Yeah, or recycling, yes. And all of this, that hence the importance of the outreach of transmitting science. This is important. And this reminds me also, like, not only conservationists and scientists talking directly to people and conveying information, but also among us, the coordination. Because if you remember when Vasek commented that one of the few problems with the next boxes was with Greenpeace, for example, like everybody is trying to do good, but maybe among associations or institutions, we are hindering each other working in different ways. Or what was the other example? Yeah, with shashliks and birds in agricultural landscapes. What you need for a shashlik, like short grass and open like places for them to go around and connect. We have to coordinate now with bushy edges or pollinators. Edges for pollinators. Yeah. So that coordination is really important.
Everything is connected.
Everything is connected. That's a t-shirt motto.
And then is the mesh of the cables. Everything is connected in a bloody mess.
Yeah. Except your laptop, Nando. Everything is connected except your Nando.
It was excellent. Until the last day, that was fantastic.
Yeah, we have Iñaki here.
So nice of someone. Hello, Iñaki.
Hi, Iñaki.
Hi, how are you?
Oh no.
I think,
don't worry.
Yeah.
I know what's happening.
Microphone.
Now.
It's working?
Yes.
You can listen to me.
So nice to have you here.
Okay.
Did you have a nice lunch? Sorry?
Did
you have a nice lunch?
Oh, yeah. It was nice. Cocido madrileño.
Well, we have put the microphone in more or less in the middle, but tell us if you need us to move it around.
Okay.
And I mean, we have been just chatting randomly about all the projects and experiences from the conference and ideas in general. But now we are open to any format. I don't know if we could maybe remember some parts of your talk and even start talking about your experience again. Or if you have watched any of the talks these days? If you have some thought that you would like to share, that will be also very nice.
Well, no, I have seen several of them, and I was, I mean, I really like the one about the bushmeat in Africa because it's something related and because it's Africa. Mm-hmm. And it's a huge problem. It is. It really is a huge problem. It's bigger even in the more forest areas than the savanna areas. But even though it's a big problem, I enjoyed that talk.
Yeah, from that talk, I got also another thought, which is how little use we are to these images, to these shocking images. Like it appears from time to time in the news. You see the rhino without a head or the elephant without a head. But still, what do you think about this sharing what's really happening there? Like really, I guess it's the same as in the news with the wars. Like we don't want to put this because it's children time on TV, so we don't want to show it. But
yes,
it's needed, no?
Yeah, well, I could say that we Western people, we are quite pushy, but I mean here, if they see an animal that is killed by, who knows, a truck or a car, so they just don't look back. They just go and butcher it. So, I mean, people here is very used to that kind of images.
Yeah, and
it's quite common.
Do you think we should get people here used to that too, or at least to show it more?
I think, I think showing could raise some awareness about the problem, especially with the traffic accidents with animals that are very common everywhere, as well in Europe, of course, with small animals. Here you can see, I mean, in Kenya or Africa, you can see elephants hit by a truck or zebras by a car, a lot of animals. When you travel around, you see a lot of different animals. Even though I have seen animals killed by road-kill animals that I haven't seen in real life, because especially during the night, a lot of animals, different animals come out that are very hard to see. And I've seen them killed in the roads, but not alive. So I think that it will help if we show all this problem to the public, if it is more open, so we realize the size of the problem. And the same with the bushmeat. Bushmeat is a problem that nowadays is very well accepted. I mean, in the sense that the conservationists working in the field, they know it's a big problem. So it's accepted. But I think it's not bad to put those typical pictures of a market in Congo or Gabon or Guinea, where they are selling chimpanzees or gorillas or any kind of duiker or other antelopes. And I think it's good that people are, I mean, I think it works for the awareness of people.
The means justify, no, how is it? The end?
Yeah, the ends justify the means. Could be. I mean, at least, especially, for example, no, we have a big problem in Spain with the lynx. Many lynx die every year, killed in road traffics. No? Maybe they should put more kill lynx in the media. So we because most people, they don't know that the lynx are getting, I mean, dying in the roads. But as well as they put in these tobacco, cigarettes, they put the smoke kills, and sometimes even a gross picture about a man or a woman killing of lung cancer, something like that. No? Maybe we should put that, like in the roads or something like that. I mean, gross in pictures or images about these killings, and then maybe it work.
Yeah, it's a common thing on the conference too. It's like this, you only care about what you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or nice things.
But not only because you care about what you know, it's something that you just don't know.
You just don't
how are you going to care if you don't know? That is a problem.
care, yes. Yeah. This, like in 2 weeks, we here in Alca, we have to go and do autopsies of 60 otters that have been mostly killed on the roads.
Oh, wow.
And this is something I was thinking about. How, I mean, we should be able to convey this message to say, look what's happening. Like, I mean, it's even, we cannot even do this so much work because so many are dying.
Yeah, it's many. 60 is a lot. So, but I mean, obviously, I guess you will publish a paper about that, but it should be as well published in the media.
Yeah, we should think about how to use it, no? To say it.
Especially when you think about, now the traffic is shown like the carbon negative thing, but many of people don't know that they are killing thousands and thousands of animals, not only the rare ones, but the common ones, insects and everything. So maybe some kind of campaign, leave the car in, probably you won't kill any animal on the way, is also one option.
Yeah, you can talk about the Novemblini Bridge, like what we find there. So many things, so many animals are dead there every time we go. Or like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think what is like here, for example, in economically good countries, yeah, we see, for example, these examples from Africa, how people there kill animals, but we also kill them. And I would say the reason is even worse than in Africa, because they do it to survive, to have at least some money. But we do it because we go on the roads and we just go for a holiday or to enjoy something. And yeah, we don't do it like on purpose, of course, but we do it by cars, not by guns.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that it has its point as well, obviously, no? You can think that everyone needs to eat every day, and that's why they kill the animals for eating.
Yeah.
But the thing is the bushmeat, and I think I don't remember the name of the guy who did the talk, but he told it, the bushmeat is for high level society. So wow. It's a snob thing. So obviously people in the field, maybe they eat it because the only things they can eat. But for them it's more profitable to just sell it in the cities to the high society. There is an example some years ago where in Paris, in the airport, in the International Charles de Gaulle Airport, they say a plane with 600 kilograms of bushmeat coming from Central African Republic. And most of that meat was going to go to the Central African embassies, from Gabon embassy, Guinea embassy, Congo embassy. So it was labeled as a diplomatic things, but they knew and they seized it. But anyway, it was in just one plane, 600 kilos. So imagine what is arriving every day or every month to Paris or to London that are very connected with Africa cities. So it's a problem not only because they need to eat, they do, of course, but it's a business. It's more than just eating. So big problem.
Yeah, actually, we have launched a awareness campaign regarding this issue about illegal trade. It's called Stolen Wildlife. It's mainly about the illegal wildlife trade in Europe, but also there are some articles about the illegal trade worldwide. And we use these, let's say, disturbing pictures from the reality, where we show the slaughtered rhinos and elephants and bushmeat and everything. And we also have photo panels that Lucy created, which use artificial blood, but still there are some of them are quite disturbing. And many people are like, oh no, we don't want to see these pictures showed in zoological gardens and so on. But we think that people need to get somehow, woken up. because they are used to seeing violence every day when you see all the criminal series in TV and the films, but this is just for entertainment, let's say. And we think that it's very much needed to show these real pictures to support conservation and inform about critical, important issues. And also, you know, we have an experience that usually children are not that, you know, affected by these pictures. It's the parents who are disturbed or, you know, yeah. But the children are like, oh, okay, yeah. The same with the animals in the zoo. You know, you show them the videos of how some raptors eat mice, and you can see all the intestines and everything, and children are, wow, what is this? I want to look, I want to even touch or something. But the mothers and fathers are those who are, oh, this is disgusting, how we can even project these and show it to children. They are traumatized, and children are, oh, I want to see, you know, so, yeah.
Yeah, you are completely right.
Good far, but that's what I mean. That it's quite good to show these real pictures in the name of conservation.
And I think we are seeing a similar trend in very popular documentaries, nature documentaries. Like until not so long ago, David Attenborough was famous for saying, no, we shouldn't talk about bad things in documentaries because it wouldn't have a nice effect. We need to get audience and we need to transmit just nice things and hope. And now you have seen it in the last documentaries. We are talking much more about the biodiversity decline and climate change and all the problems. Of course, he adds a line of hope at the end always, but this is getting more common. No, we are, as we say in Spain, is you have to give una de cal, una de arena. No, we have to show the bad and the good at the same time. Because
you need to show the nice thing about nature, so that people, you know, get fall in love with this. And then you can show them that it's not safe, and you have to save it. Because if you show these bad pictures and the issues for the first time, they will be alarmed. But you need to show them that it used to be nice and it used to be great, and then that it's in danger.
Yes.
So that was good to show them. I agree also with that, because they don't realize it. You actually show them with the really terrible and like bad reality pictures, they will be shocked and they will start to think about it. But they should be always also the pictures of like nice pictures, because if they are shocked too much, they think that if they do anything, it will not change. They have like this depressed emotion from the board, we cannot save it anymore.
It's over. It's like when there is some rubbish in a field, the tendency is to keep throwing rubbish there, no? Or this experiment with the windows in a building. Like if it's well preserved, nothing happens. But as soon as there is a broken window, it's a matter of days when all the windows are broken. Like
one broken window is calling for being the others.
There is actually a paper published related with this Attenborough series. I think it's Planet Earth 2, that they focused on how people got awareness on wildlife related with this before and after seeing the series. And they got a result that blew my mind, because the series is about a lot of different wild animals throughout the world. So they studied the awareness of society. This, I think, just in England, but yeah, it's relatable with every other country, I think. And they found that people got more awareness about animals, not because they were beautiful or rare or in a high level of risk or cuteness or the furry ones or something, but the amount of awareness was related or was correlated with the time, the number of seconds it appeared in the screen.
Amazing.
So even the common ones, they were people looked for it on Wikipedia or tweets about them, or so they found this was higher, this kind of behavior on people with animals that appeared more in the screen than those that were just that.
Wow.
Just that. So it's like it's not about telling super impressive stories, but it's about just showing
Screen time.
just throwing it. So you just have to. That's why one of the reasons I am so I don't know. So I have so much care with, or I'm so on social media because I know this actually works, and it's yeah. So it's the more sparrows you tweet, the more awareness you will get from society. So it's like.
But it's good.
Yeah, yes.
You can also like do it with some.
No, we need is both.
Like some insects, which people like, don't like to see or something.
To know them is to love them.
But on the other hand, for example, species like Sala, which are critically endangered, and no one has ever seen them in the wild, and we have only like, I don't know, 5 pictures of them, maybe from camera traps. It means that they will never be as much, important to people and, conserved as those who are not that critically endangered, but we have a lot of pictures and videos of them.
Yeah, it depends on how much people have seen it or how much knowledge have people about it.
It's like you can apply PBA to the photos. you can have a population viability analysis just using how many photos you have.
Yeah, so I think it's a very important conservation concept. If we conservationists know this, the more people know something about a species, the more awareness they will get. So it's like not about it's the eternal issue with pandas and gorillas and so on. They got the fame and the other species. So it's just about showing them, not of course the story matters and the storytelling is important, but it's more at least for this study, it's more important to just show them in a huge amount of different ways that the status of the species.
If you think about it, this is something that politicians know very well.
Mm-hmm.
They even say stupid things so that they are more in the news.
Yeah.
They plan it.
Yeah, it's true.
Because it doesn't matter. They just need the screen time. So they, especially, you can see it now with all this far right wing, like extreme right people. You can tell that they don't believe what they are saying, but they say, apart from enraging the society, they do it to get the screen time.
And they are winning.
So please tweet more things about Saslich.
We have to post more photos.
Yeah.
It's like that. Also, it happened also with Blue Planet, the other like marine, especially it was marine conservancy. But this one had the effect on the plastic. Like it was the first time plastic was showcased as a problem, and one of the first documentaries that talk about a bad thing, and it had such a huge effect. Like now, and it also shows this what we have been talking about during the whole conference, that change is actually possible. Like there's a huge momentum, but we know, like with COVID, you can stop everything. If you want, you can stop the emissions. If you want, you can keep everybody at home. So change is possible. You just need the trigger and a powerful enough push.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's the question where this change is targeted. Because, in the case of plastics, there are people stuck to, or, often stuck using plastic straws, for example, but this is just a symbol of this anti-plastic fight, because actually the vast majority of plastic waste in the ocean is from the fishing nets, which no one from us can do something about.
But how many times have you seen this item in the TV?
Yeah.
Thousands.
So but something what is visible.
That's the point. Yeah.
So it's the other, like maybe it's that, no, that the straw is like the tipping point, the Trojan horse, no, to get to the problem. You start talking about the straw, and then you say, people, actually, this is a huge problem. This is all that. So we need a lot of Trojan horses.
The bait, the Bar Hotel's bait.
Yes.
By the way, now that you're here,
now
listen to me.
Exactly.
Listen to me. Yes.
Creating Trojan horses.
But not only horses, no?
Absolutely.
And I have to add again that it should bring some benefits to the people, or to the public, or to the local people. I think this is working very well. Because the education is important, that people are impressed and are really close to that. We show them what's occur in their neighborhood, the animals, and I don't know, some plants. So, okay, they will maybe fall in love. But if we bring them some benefit, something that's actually, let's say, making their life better. So I think that's the best way. Because to be emotional high and to be impressed can disappear really fast. But if they will get some benefits and they will be really involved, it can actually stay and keep it for more time. So.
Sustainability of the project. Also, not in general sustainability, but on projects that they can be independent of external funding, of subsidies or things like that. That should be a big thing also a big thing in this conference. Like, I just remember the talk about refugium, creating a fund for conservation. There has been there are huge entrepreneurs that I don't know, I follow in social media some cases of huge entrepreneurs and creators of companies that discovered that there was a problem because someone told them or because they felt it, they saw it. And then they said, okay, I'm going to apply capitalism to this. And you have to incite in the interest. People will not do anything, people like politicians, like countries, no one will do anything unless you give them the benefit directly. And there are these funds, like the example we have from Prokop, but also there are huge funds now for climate change, created just by people telling the stakeholders that they can put money in this fund and get money. And this is such a shortcut, because if you tell people, look, you can get money using this, or you can get even more money doing something green, and take both of the money. No, but this example, like hijacking the system so that you apply to the interest, you are aligning interests, that's what will work in terms of sustainability. So we have to find all these benefits for the locals, but also for the people having the big money out there. If we find, we have to find ideas to align interests more and more.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of playing the game with the rules that are already there, not creating new rules or long-term rules.
Yeah, we can try to change some rules little by little, but in the meantime, we have to take these shortcuts. And these Elon Musks of the society. To those, we have to inform them a bit, but we have to push it that way. Okay, any more thoughts, or it's noon now here? Maybe it's our time to go for lunch.
That's the program say. We are on time, so we are perfect.
So we can do the closing statements. Well, to start with, thank you, Iñaki, for joining for a little bit.
A pleasure.
And for your amazing talk. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I hope, well, we will keep in touch and maybe plan things. I have to join one of your field trips.
Okay, as you like.
Has to happen.
Perfect.
Thank you, everybody listening and listening in the future, because all these videos we will edit and put it in a nicer way and package them in a nicer way, easy to find, and keep them in YouTube, so you can follow this conference for many years to come, until the next one.
Yes, please. Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you every single person that has attended lively the conference.
Amazing support for us.
And thank you for bearing with us.
In our technical problems. We have learned a lot. Thank you for your patience. Okay, well
so yeah, we can do a collective applause. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, lunchtime.
Yes, so.
Okay, so enjoy your lunch.
Good
appetite. Bye.
Thank you. We got it, Nando.
We wouldn't know what to press.
We are right.
We didn't know either, but somehow.
But you had fun.
Somehow it happened.
That's what we
like.
And we are still alive, so everything's fine.
Excellent. Okay, disconnecting.
So this is the end of the Wildlife Conservation in Human Landscapes conference in Velké Pavlovice, Czechia. 2021. Yeah, the best is yet to come. Yes. And thank you, of course, thank you. You haven't said thank you to the organizer of the Congress. Thank you to Alka for organizing all this adventure, and the other partners, of course Nando, and the Ecocentrum in Velké
for hosting us and cleaning all our mud from our books.
And bearing with us as well. All right.
Okay, see you next year.
See you next year. Hope so.